So I'm reading from this 365 Tao. I actually just suggested to one of my students in world religion that she look up one for Christianity because she wanted to do like a daily devotional. But I've had this for a while, and yeah, it's so inspiring. I'm just kind of reading through it instead of going day by day. But I thought this one was really interesting. It's from day 25 and it's entitled Uselessness. And it's always starts with like a Taoist poem. Oh, and it's the author is Dang Ming Dao. Probably not pronouncing that correctly. An ancient gnarled tree, too fibrous for a logger's saw, too twisted to fit a carpenter's square, outlasts the whole forest. Loggers delight in straight-grained, strong, fragrant wood. If the timber is too difficult to cut, too twisted to be made straight, too foul-odored for cabinets, and too spongy for firewood, it is left alone. Useful trees are cut down, useless ones survive. The same is true of people. The strong are conscripted, the beautiful are exploited. Those who are too plain to be noticed are the ones who survive. They are left alone and safe. That's a different perspective, right? But what if we ourselves are among such plain persons? Though others may neglect us, we should not think of ourselves as being without value. We must not accept the judgment of others as the measure of our own self-worth. Instead, we should live our lives in simplicity. Surely we will have flaws, but we must take stock in them according to our own judgment and then use them as a measure of self-improvement. Since we need not expend energy in putting on airs or in maintaining a position, we are actually free to cultivate the best parts of our personalities. Thus, to be considered useless is not a reason for despair, but an opportunity. It is the chance to live without interference and to express one's own individuality. I think that's so interesting. That's such a cool perspective, and it is so Taoist, right? Um, Kind of going along with nature, acceptance, and just kind of a paradoxical way of thinking that is opposed to achievement or production society. In my intro to philosophy class, we were just talking about who did we have last? My mind is blanking. Oh, it was Heidegger. Yeah, because we were talking about the essay of his on the question of technology, talking about how, well, he says that we kind of are turning everything into standing reserve, just giving everything a use value, even ourselves. We just kind of stock up the Earth's resources until we need it. And everything, because he experienced like the automation of the household, like the domestic space. The 1950s had a lot of really cool like technology. Like people had washing machines for the first time, or like I think even like blenders and televisions and radios, etc. And so things were, and provided for entertainment and also convenience. And he saw sort of this shift in temporality as somewhat problematic. And Taoism has a temporality of slowness. And like if something's too intense, like think about like a really intense storm, it can only last for so long. The duration is short when the intensity is high. And I think that a lot of us strive and are sort of self-judgmental when we fail at being super productive. I was thinking today how impatient sometimes I am on a spiritual path. Like there's so many sort of like spiritual gifts that I want to realize, and communication and connection, etc. But in my spiritual perspective, everyone, whatever good things there are in sort of the evolution of human consciousness, no one will be left behind. Like we are all going to, if there's bliss to be had, we are all going to shift into that bliss. Maybe at different times, but if we all are going to get there, then does it matter if some of us are like the last instead of the first? So I think that when we kind of contemplate our uselessness, maybe to society or culture, like whatever that, kind of manifests as for you individually, like this is a different perspective that, what does it say? That you're not without value, even if think about how the beautiful are sometimes exploited. Not that that is a great thing. I shouldn't do that. Um, should be nice and kind and protective to everyone, right? But sometimes in a culture or society that happens. So then sometimes in that particular, like very problematic kind of toxic culture, I think like so many of us are trying to be not just beautiful, but whatever it is, wealthy, famous, etc. But yet, sometimes we see that that doesn't always end up in bliss or peace completely. It doesn't like solve problems. Sometimes it creates more problems. So if we are not those who see ourselves able to access the heights of, A, B, and C, whatever again that is, you can add whatever to the list of what you have felt like you were seeking in the past and lacking. Sometimes that lack can really be helpful, especially for self-cultivation and sort of the path of doing inner work and inner development. And like there's so many different things to be sort of focused on and interested in the world, in this human existence. And we all don't have to be like fighting for the same thing. We can flow along with our own natures, noticing what's unique in us, what's best in us, and really see what happens if we just stop resisting and go along that path. Not all of us are going to be the smartest, but that's okay. Like, what are the opportunities in someone who sort of always feels like they're a beginner and needing to learn so much and they have so far to go? Where is the beauty in that? That you can capture sort of maybe an innocence or a playfulness or a curiosity that you might lose, once you were to get to sort of the top of the game, maybe in like intelligence or something, if that was possible. So, if we are an ancient gnarled tree, too fibrous for a logger's saw, too twisted to fit a carpenter's square, like, oh, this logger isn't choosing us, we might just outlast the entire forest.